ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕನ್ನಡ ಪ್ರೇಕ್ಷಕರಿಗೆ ಒಂದೆರಡು ಮಾತನಾಡಬೇಕು.
Hi everyone. I'm sorry. Can I speak in English?
Yeah, please.
Thank you. Um, First of all, thanks to everyone who have come here today.
But ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಟು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ವಿತ್. ಐ ವಾಂಟ್ ಯು ಟು ಸ್ಪೀಕ್ ಇನ್ ಕನ್ನಡ. ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಲೈನ್ ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ, ನೀವು ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು.
ಸರಿ.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
ನಮ್ಮ ಕಡುವ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಇದೇ ಜೂನ್ 30 ಇದೇ ಜೂನ್ 30 ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
Okay.
So sweet.
Thank you so much. I think she helped me with all the contents here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lakshmi.
Okay. Yeah, so this is what we have come here for, to tell everyone that film Kadwa is releasing on the 30th of this month. And to speak about this film, it was a dream to be part of Kadwa, because Shaji Kailas, the director of the film, I've literally grown up watching all his films, and few of his films have defined Malayalam cinema. And the cherry on the cake was working with Prithviraj sir. And he's one of the finest actors in Indian cinema. And here you go, if you love to celebrate cinema in theaters, if you love that action entertainers with the drama and thrill, here's Kadwa for you. You should definitely go to theaters and enjoy a film. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Samyukta avare. And can you just brief out which are the specialities of cinema, if any?
Should I just give the pointers, or should I?
Some 2-3 points about very much specialities of the cinema.
Yeah, I should say post-pandemic, there are a lot of entertainers that's coming from different industries. So here's Kadwa from our industry, and I'm pretty sure people are expecting to go to theaters and enjoy it with the audience. And I personally love that wave in theaters when there is that moment where we want to clap and enjoy and celebrate cinema in theaters. So I think that's one thing. And definitely the director, Shaji Kailas sir. And of course, I've missed watching your action on screen, and here you go, after so many years I get to be part of a film in which you are doing some high octane action scenes. And yeah, I would say this is not just all about action. There's family, there's drama, and there's thrill. Of course, you have I should say Vivek sir. They both have done a great it's a great combo.
ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ಕಡ್ವಾ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ನಮ್ಮ ಕನ್ನಡದ ಮಾಸ್ ಎಂಟರ್ಟೈನರ್ಸ್ ಲವರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಕೂಡ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದಾಗೆ ಸೆಲೆಬ್ರೇಷನ್ ಮೂಡ್ ತರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಕೂಡ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಮಿಸ್ ಯು ದಟ್. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸೋ ಮಚ್ ಸಮಯ ಫಾರ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಟೀಸರ್ಗೆ ಅದ್ಭುತವಾದಂಥ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಕನ್ನಡ ಆಡಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಕೂಡ ಮಾಸ್ ಎಂಟರ್ಟೈನ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಲವರ್ಸ್ ಇದಾರಲ್ಲ, ಅವರು ಕೂಡ ಕಾಯ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ತಮ್ಮ ಕಡ್ವಾ ಸಿನಿಮಾಗಾಗಿ. ಜೂನ್ 30ನೇ ತಾರೀಕು ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಹೌ ಇಸ್ ದಿ ಫೀಲ್ ಸರ್, ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಫೀಲ್?
Hi everyone, I'm going to act like I've understood everything she said. But I'm assuming that, she meant nice things. It feels great to be here because I think over the past 6 months, I've unofficially been appointed the brand ambassador of Kannada cinema in Kerala, because two of your biggest films made it to Kerala through Prithviraj Productions, KGF 2 of course, and my friend Rakshit's beautiful 777 Charlie. Both these films made me a lot of money too, actually. So I must thank you as much as you thank me for taking Kannada cinema to Kerala. Kadwa is a special film for me, and I believe a lot of us in Malayalam cinema, because I remember when I heard the script back in the beginning months of 2019, the first thing that struck me is how much we've missed one of those, unapologetic mass action entertainers in Malayalam. Granted, Malayalam cinema is going through a great phase. We are making some wonderful cerebral, intellectual content that has found its national and international recognition over the past few years. But I do believe that a healthy industry is one where all genres coexist and coexist healthily. And Malayalam cinema, I too am responsible for it actually. Malayalam cinema of the recent past has somehow forgotten to create, to design and to execute this genre, this throwback to the larger than life cinematic liberty taking mass action entertainers. So that's the first thing that struck me when I listened to the script even back in 2019. 3 years later, when we are here today in 2022, what is happiest for me is that I get a sense that a lot of film lovers in Kerala are now sharing that sentiment, that Malayalam cinema has been missing an action entertainer. I think it's a great time for Kadwa to release, and I think it's a wonderful time for Malayalam cinema, like Telugu and Kannada and Tamil, now to start foraying into directly releasing dubbed versions of our films over the country, all over the country. This new coinage that we have termed post this phenomenon called the Bahubali franchise, called Pan-Indian cinema, I think was cemented by what Prashant Neel, Hombale and Yash did with KGF. But I do not think it's a 1 or 2 or 3 film phenomenon. I think it's a process that all of us will now join hands to slowly move towards an era where we will all become one large industry. This event, this press meet, this meeting the media is not about Kadwa alone. It is not about bringing that one film dubbed into Kannada, into Karnataka. I would love it for this to be the start of a long association between the Kannada media and Malayalam cinema, not just for my films, even in my friends, my colleagues, my contemporaries, even when they bring their movies, I would love it if you can extend the same cooperation, the same love, and down the line, as much as Kannada films, I'm sure will now make their way to Kerala in Malayalam dubbed versions, I would love to see Malayalam films playing in theatres in Karnataka with a Kannada audio track. So let's hope this is the beginning of something wonderful. And this is one of the biggest films post-pandemic that has happened in Malayalam. I know, I'm the producer. It's a proper, large-scale, big-ticket entertainer. Don't expect anything intellectually reposing or something that will make you rack your brains and think about it. Just carry a large bag of popcorn and, wanting to see great action, some great dramavazi, some dialogue delivery. And much like Driving License and Ayyappan Koshin, this film too is based on the complexities of male ego. It's between 2 men who refuse to give in and give up. Some nicely dramatized cinematic moments all along. When I started shooting this film, I realized how much I've missed acting in these kinds of cinema, how much I've missed doing these large, big action sequences. Like Samyukta mentioned, I don't remember before Kadwa when was the last time I shot something like this. So I realized I missed it a lot. I hope Kadwa becomes a big hit and people realize that once in a while it's nice to see something like this happen. Thank you once again. Thank you for coming here. Thank you for being part of this event. And I look forward to hearing what you think of Kadwa. And I have to specifically thank Bangalore because my previous film, Janaganamana, for which I was also the producer again, along with my partner, Listen Stephen. Outside of Kerala, Janaganamana made the most money in Bangalore city. So thank you so much for the love towards Janaganamana. Thank you for the reception that you gave the film. I promise to do my best to bring Malayalam cinema and my films to Karnataka consistently. Thank you.
Sir, and once again, sir, and the best way of conveying thanks would be speaking one sentence at least in Kannada, Namma Kannadigarga.
Yeah, like you prompt, I repeat.
Please, at least ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
ನಮ್ಮ ಕಡುವ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಇದೇ ಜೂನ್ 30 ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು
ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು
ಎಲ್ಲರೂ
ಎಲ್ಲರೂ
ಥಿಯೇಟರ್ಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ನೋಡಿ. ಥಿಯೇಟರ್ಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ನೋಡಿ.
ಸಿನಿಮಾ ನೋಡಿ.
ಎಂಜಾಯ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
If I said that line in Malayalam, I can guarantee you she will not be able to repeat it. Malayalis here will know that.
Sir, if Malayalam, I would request you to sing a song itself, sir, because I know you are a very good singer too.
See, when I'm promoting this film, no, I'm more in the mood to recreate action. So not music. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
ETV ಭಾರತ್ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಈ ಸೈಡ್.
Hi.
ಸರ್, ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಡವ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಬಿಡುಗಡೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರೋದು ಖುಷಿ ವಿಚಾರ. ಇವಾಗಲೇ ಒಂದು ಮಾತು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ. ಸೊ ನನಗೆ ಈ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಪ್ರಮೋಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲದೇನೆ ನಾನು ಮಲಯಾಳಂ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಈ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಕಾಂಪ್ಲಿಕೇಟ್ ಇದಾಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಏನಂದರೆ, ಹೀಗೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರೋಂಥ ಸಿನಿಮಾಗಳ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಗಳು, ಬೇರೆ ಭಾಷೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಗಳು ಕನ್ನಡ ಡಬ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಅವರು ಕೂಡ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಡಬ್ ಮಾಡಿರುವಂಥ ಉದಾಹರಣೆಗಳಿದೆ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ಇತ್ತೀಚೆಗೆ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆದಂಥ RR ಸಿನಿಮಾದಲ್ಲಿ ರಾಮಚರಣ್ ತೇಜ, NTR ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ಕೂಡ ಅವರ ಪಾತ್ರಕ್ಕೆ ಅವರು ಡಬ್ಬಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಸೊ ಆ ಥರದೊಂದು ನೀವು ಕೂಡ ಆ ಥರದೊಂದು ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದಾಗಿತ್ತಲ್ವಾ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಥರ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಇನ್ನೂ ಕೂಡ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಸಂಖ್ಯೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಭಿಮಾನಿ ಬಳಗ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಟ್ಟುಕೋಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಕನ್ನಡ ಕಲ್ತಂಗೂ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ನನ್ನ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯ.
Unless somebody translates that,
Yes, I think that's right.
I'm going to have to reply in Malayalam.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
So, you have dubbed your cinema in Kannada industry, so why don't you try to dub your character also, as an RRR, Ram Charan sir and others have done that? Why didn't you try to do that in Kannada as well?
Yeah, actually, very fair question. I was very particular that I really wanted to dub for Janaganamana and Kadua, because we are doing this wide release, especially for Kadua. Every other language film that I've done to date, I've dubbed myself. I've done Tamil, I've done Hindi, I've done one Telugu film for which I've dubbed myself. And I would absolutely love to dub in Kannada. I would love to pick up the language and dub in Kannada. Unfortunately, I was away shooting for a very big film for 3.5 months in Algeria and Jordan. So I couldn't find time to dub Kadua in the other languages. I mean, even Tamil or Hindi, those are languages that I know, I couldn't dub because I was away. And we had this release deadline to meet. But it's a very good point. Down the line, I believe as actors, we will have to make that effort if we want to genuinely bring legitimate dubbed versions of our film. I do believe that as actors we need to make the effort of learning the language and dubbing it in our own voice, because your voice is as much a part of your performance as what you see on screen. Point taken, sir. I will make that effort.
Sukumaran sir, I missed out another question. Here,
Now I have to correct you, because even during the interview you kept addressing me as Sukumaran. That's my dad. Yeah.
Prithviraj sir.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes. After Lucifer, Vivek Oberoi sir again part of this your movie especially. So how will be you and Vivek sir stuck of war?
Yeah, so like I mentioned during our interview and also during my small speech in the beginning of the press conference, this film is very much about two men. The two men that you see in the teaser. And I keep joking to my co-collaborators that this is like a trilogy of male ego that I've done, because I did Driving License, then I did Ayyappan and Koshi, and this is the third film that I'm doing where the core of the plot is very much about male ego. It's about two men, so-called macho men, who gets hurt in their ego and they decide to take on each other, and they just refuse to give up or give in. So it was very important that it does not come across as a one character, one actor plot. It is very much about two characters. It is very much about two people. And incidentally, the first time I heard this script, we had Mr. Menon in mind to play the other character. And then Ayyappan Koshim happened and it became such a big hit in Malayalam, and people around the country saw the film and spoke about it. Then we suddenly realized if Biju is going to again do this, it might just become one more of the same thing. And then as a second option, frankly, when I said Vivek Oberoi, nobody even discussed any further. Vivek is a very good friend of mine. I called him and I said, there's this film I want you to do, and there was nothing else asked. He came, he shot the film, and what he's brought into the film is priceless. Because it is very important. Kadava Kunil Kuruvachan, when you see, you will know, is a very, very powerful, larger than life kind of a character. And it was very important that the character opposite him is at least seems equally powerful and equally like a larger than life projection of a man. And Vivek has that aura. Vivek very much has that aura. And yeah, he's also very good at doing action and all that. There is action in the film, a lot of it, and it was nice working with him again. I look forward to doing more of it.
ಸರ್, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಡ್ರೈವಿಂಗ್ ಲೈಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಲೂಸಿಫರ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಅಯ್ಯಪ್ಪನ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಸಿನಿಮಾಗಳು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸ್ ತಗೊಂಡಿತ್ತು ಮತ್ತು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ತುಂಬ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಟಾಕ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು. ಬಟ್ ಯಾಕೆ ನೀವು ಕನ್ನಡಕ್ಕೆ ಬರೋಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ಲೇಟ್ ಆಯಿತು? ಯಾಕೆ ಸೋ ಲೇಟ್?
Did you just ask me why am I not doing a Kannada film?
Yes.
I should dub actually Kannada. Yeah. I would love to. Kannada filmmakers, if you are listening, please, I want to do Kannada cinema. Please come and tell me some scripts. I would love to do Kannada cinema. I think Kannada cinema is now very exciting. I have some very good friends here actually. Prashant Neil is a friend of mine. Hombale, the whole group, they are friends and co-collaborators of mine. Yash, of course. Shivraj Kumar sir, he's in fact before all of them, I know all of them, Hombale or Yash or Prashant, I knew Shivraj Kumar sir, and he makes you sort of realize what it means to be a superstar, doesn't he? I mean, when you meet him, it's like a reminder that however big you become, stay grounded. So I have friends here. I would love to do a Kannada film, but the way all the industries are now evolving, the way all the industries are now sort of blurring the boundaries, I don't think it's too far away. Even if I don't do a Kannada film before that, I can assure you that the film I'm directing for Hombale will have a proper, legitimately shot Kannada version. Yeah.
ಸರ್, ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ಭುವನ ಅಂತ, ಸ್ವೀಟ್ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಇಂದ. ನೀವು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಮತ್ತೆ?
Would you like to ask a question to Sangeeta?
No, I want to ask you.
Okay, feel free. Yeah.
Okay. ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಮತ್ತೆ ಆಕ್ಟಿಂಗು ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ. ಸೊ ನೀವೇನಾದ್ರೂ ಕನ್ನಡ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಟ್ಟರೆ ಯಾವ ಹೀರೋಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? ಮತ್ತೆ ನೀವು ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಯಾರ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೀರಾ?
I actually understood that question.
Then my job is done.
Yeah, I understood that question. Yeah. So, as a director, I am not somebody who starts thinking of a film wanting to work with one particular actor. Even the film that I'm directing for Hombale, which I'm going to be directing myself and starring in it myself, I didn't start thinking like that. I didn't start thinking of a film where I will direct myself. I just thought maybe of the available options I fit that character the best. There are so many wonderful actors in Kannada. I would love to work with all of them as a filmmaker, because as every filmmaker, I'm also very greedy. I want to work with all the big stars. I want to work with all the new exciting talents. Of late, I know Yash and I know Rakshit quite well, and these are two great actors that I would love to collaborate with at some point. Directors, I know I'm working with Prashant. I will at some point. And Prashant is, I don't know if he's an Indian director from Kannada now, isn't he? I mean, he's reached that stage. I don't know many names other than Prashant in terms of directors in Kannada, but there's this film that I saw long back and it blew my mind, called Lucia. So that filmmaker, Rakshit, if he will direct a film with a Malayalam hero, I'm going to go audition for it. Yeah.
Hi, this is Sachin from Supriya. We saw Pushpa from South India, which was pan-India. Before that, Bahubali was there. Now KGF 2. Do you count on Kadwa to become a on par with these two movies?
No. See, I expect Kannada to do good business, obviously. But it is not just about the business, right? Films like Bahubali, KGF and Pushpa, I think sort of grew in stature enough to almost become cultural icons. Kannada is very much smaller in scale when compared to those films. Kannada is much more rooted in nativity. Even the styling, the design, the aesthetics might not be something that appeals to everybody across the country. We are aware of it. There is a film that happens in the early 90s in a plantation belt called Pala, Kanyarpalli in Kerala. We are aware that the styling and the aesthetics of the film might not necessarily appeal to people across the country. But why this is important, why this press meet, this promotional tour, this process is important, is that I think it's high time this starts. And it has to start at some point. I don't think Malayalam industry should wait to make that one giant film, to start doing these multiple city promotional tours where we spread awareness about our cinema before it comes on OTT platforms. Streaming services has been wonderful for Malayalam cinema. I think it's given us a legitimate national platform for people around the country to sit up and take notice of the content we make. But I also think it is important that even before that, we give film lovers across the country a genuine chance to come and watch Malayalam cinema at a language of their choice on the big screens. So, why I'm doing this for Kannada is not just for Kannada. It's for all the films that will follow. It's for the industry that I belong to. It's for the cinema that I'm in love with. And for the language that I know can create beautiful content consistently over a period of time.
Sir, I'm Maltesh from Z News. Actually, this is another gift of a pan-Indian category. Now you're doing pan-Indian movie. Is there any plans to do a pan-world movie in future?
See, nobody asks this to, I don't know, Christopher Nolan, right? So will you do a pan-world film? This is granted, his films are pan-world. So nobody will ask this, I don't know, to a Jerry Bruckheimer when he does a film. It's just granted it's a pan-world film. So yeah, I do think that it is not something that you design and then do. I think it's organically something that will happen. I don't think even the producers of Bahubali could have designed what happened after the release of Bahubali. Yeah, you hope and you pray that it goes on to become a success everywhere. But I don't think the producers of Bahubali would have imagined that it would become so big across the country and across the world. We are perfectly capable. I think India is perfectly capable of doing cinema that can be seen and appreciated across the world. And we don't need to look anywhere outside for content. I mean, you look into ourselves, you look into our culture, our heritage, our society. We can come up with so much of content. We have the skill, we have the technical expertise. Now we have the money, we have everything. So I think, if you mean by pan-world cinema that will release across the globe in theaters and people will come and watch it, I think we are getting there. We are definitely getting there. I mean, you look at reviews of something like an RRR online from the US and the UK, I am assuming the next S.S. Rajamouli sir film will have a legitimate theatrical release across the world. We are getting there. We will get there. Yeah.
So I have two questions. We heard that
I have
you are
many
going
questions from afternoon you are asking.
I heard that you are going to be a part of Salar movie. Is it true? One question. Another question is the intention and intuition of the Ayappanam Kosham movie and Kadwa is bit similar. How can we differentiate as an audience?
So regarding the first question, I would have loved to deny it, but Prabhas said it right, so I can't deny it also. So, yeah. See, Salar is a project that came to me long back. Even Hombale spoke to me about Salar even before I agreed to present KGF 2 and all that. Then the pandemic happened and the shoot got postponed, And this film that I was abroad shooting for 3 months, I had to finish that film. So in between, I thought I'm not going to be able to do Sarar, right? So I had spoken to Prashant, I had spoken to Hombali and said, I'm sorry, I don't think it's going to happen. But then again, the dates changed, and Prabhas's dates had an issue. And then my dates, I managed to finish that film, the huge film that I was shooting in Algeria. I managed to finish that film. And then again, this thought came, hang on, maybe now the dates will work. I'll know tomorrow. I'm meeting Prashant tomorrow. So if Prabhas's dates and my dates and everything else falls in place, then maybe. But I've heard Salar. I've heard a narration. And I'm very excited to see the film. Yeah, I mean, of course. It's a Prashant Neel film, it's a Prabhas film, it's a Hombale film. So there are many things working for it, right? Yeah. And your second question. Yeah, it is very much similar in the core, like I said, because it's a tussle between two men. For what might seem like a silly reason, but then that keeps growing and keeps growing and keeps growing, and it just becomes a huge issue, not just for them, but for people around them as well. The difference between Ayyappan Koshim and Kadua would be that Ayyappan Koshim was treated as a very real, subtle, organic piece of cinema. Even the writing style was like that. Kadua is a more testosterone-fueled, cinematic, larger-than-life, commercial, mainstream version of that. The action is very different, the filmmaking language is very different, the scale on canvas is much bigger, and of course the story is different. The story is different, but the core motivation of the story is this tussle between two men. Yeah.
Hi sir, this is Sujay. Actually, this is about Janagana Mana cinema, the earlier cinema of yours. ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕನ್ನಡ ಸಿನಿಮಾಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ತಮಿಳ್ ಅಥವಾ ತೆಲುಗು ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ಗ್ರೌಂಡಿನ ಒಂದು ಏರಿಯಾದ ಒಂದು ವಿಷಯನ ನಾವು ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥೆಂಟಿಕ್ ಆಗಿ ತಮಿಳ್ ಮತ್ತು ತೆಲುಗು ಮಾತಾಡೋರನ್ನ ನಾವು ಬಳಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ ಸಿನಿಮಾಗಳಲ್ಲಿ. ಬಟ್ ಈ ಒಂದು ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಜನಗಣಮನ ಸಿನಿಮಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಮೌಂಟೆಡ್ ಇನ್ ರಾಮನಗರ, ಮತ್ತು ರಾಮನಗರ ಕಾಲೇಜಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಇದು ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ನಡೆಯುತ್ತೆ ವಿಷಯಗಳು. ಬಟ್ ಯಾರು ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ಅಥೆಂಟಿಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಕನ್ನಡವನ್ನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡಲ್ಲ. Why it is like that? And even the police officers also, some speak some broken Tamil and Kannada, but Kannada ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಯಾರು ಮಾತಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಂದರೆ ಮಲಯಾಳಂ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಡೀಟೇಲಿಂಗಿಗೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಒಂದು ಒತ್ತು ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಬಟ್ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಮಿಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತ.
So Janaganamana, when I heard the story, I thought it was important that film should not be bound to a particular place or a particular time. And why I thought that was important? Because it to me felt genuinely like a story that could happen at any place, at any time. It also had a prerequisite of seeming to be very cosmopolitan in nature. Meaning, it had to happen in a place where people speak different languages, there are different cultures, there are different etiquettes, all, coming together. Very cosmopolitan. So it had to be part fiction, part real, part inspired, part, completely fictional. So because of that, we placed it in a time, space and manner where there are people speaking different languages, broken versions of different languages, people seeming like they're from places you can't make out but you think you know. So that is the quality of Janaganamana that was deliberately woven into the narrative. And that was our effort at trying to make it seem universal. And I think we pulled it off, because I do believe that was one of the reasons why that film sort of hit a chord with people across the country. It seems like it could happen anywhere. And for us in Kerala, if you look at the geography or the topography of where could be a place where people speak more than 3 or 4 languages, people seem like they're from different places, people seem like they're from different cultures. It's that trifecta border of Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, it's that place. Which is why we sort of place it at a fictional place inspired by that cross-section.
So one last question.
I really want to ask question for
I like how you decided that you're going to wind this press conference up. Yeah.
Wind this with a question for Samyukta.
Oh, thank you.
Ankita Gowda from Canlish Media.
Hi.
Samyukta, you have already entered Kannada industry doing so many films. I just wanted to ask you about the experience here doing Kannada films, and that is my first question. And the second question is obviously about...
I have two.
Thank you. Second question is obviously about Kadwa. You have already told how it excited you to share screen with sir. So tell us something about him as a professional things about him when off the camera, when he's performing. How was it? Anything he helped you? Some things.
Yeah,
I just wanted
that's
to
not just
know
two
off the
questions.
camera things, because on screen we will watch the cinema and so many things we have already know. So
Yeah, sure.
So the first question was about Galipata 2. So, okay, by the way, I loved all those questions they asked you. Yeah, I mean, I would say, we were expecting questions about Kadwa, how it is, the plot and the character. But I just felt that hunger you had, finally, okay, we have got Prithviraj Sukumaran, let us ask some questions, from pan-Indian cinema to, taking it pan-world, about your dubbing, Janaganamana, about Sala, and they had like so much of questions to ask. Like, I think this was the first time I'm, seeing, so much of research put in by journalists to ask, such questions. And so, yeah, coming to Galipata, so that's my first film in Kannada. I just loved, when I just got a call just randomly for Galipata 2, and I didn't know anything about Galipata 1. But when I discussed, of course there are a lot of relatives and friends in Bangalore, in Karnataka. I just asked, hey, do you know anything about Galipata, and how was the film? Have you watched that film? And they were just, oh my God, did they call you for Galipata too? This is a cult film. We love watching it, and the combination of Yogaraj sir and Ganesh sir is incredible. You should definitely take it up. And of course, yeah, I was just, going around and doing films in all languages. I think why leave Kannada alone, let me go to Kannada. and I took it up, and I would say it was a great decision that I took, because first thing, yes, the experience was really wonderful, and this was the first multi-starrer that I worked. I mean, there were this Ganesh, Golden Star Ganesh, and Digant and Pavan, and me and Sharmila and Vaibhavi. So there's 6 main characters in the film. So usually if you see Kadwa, just there's limited characters, but in Galipata there were a lot of characters, and every other character had its own space and weightage in the film. And of course, before going into Galipata, I watched a lot of Yogaraj sir's film, and I felt, the way he, if you see, I would say, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to reveal this because we have come for Kadwa and I'm talking about Galipata. But the thing is, the first half is set in, we shot in Kudremuga. It's full of greenery, it's about college and everything. But the second half, we shot in Russia, in Kazakhstan. And there you go, it's full of snow and everything. So I think he, if you say it's not just about the location, but according to the story, the locations were actually relevant. And okay, give us 5 minutes, it'll be done. Okay, so that's about Galipata, and it was really a fun experience. I think on screen it is fun, and it was really fun to work with them. And of course, it was my first Kannada film. I really worked hard picking, learning the lines, and I put effort on that, and it was nice. And the second question was about Kadwa. Let me just put it this way, like, It's that the Kadwa is about two men. But I would say if you take away me or Kurvachan's family from the film, I would say it would be very flat. You can't, am I right? Yeah. I mean, two characters just picking a fight and they having their, action sequence. I think as a viewer, it won't work for me. I think it's that drama and this, the plot of this family and everything that adds up. And that's kind of gives a feel to the film, and there you go, you have drama and thrill and action all together as one package. And obviously, you'll definitely enjoy watching Kadwa in theaters, and that's when I listened to the script, I had those moments, when I listen, I imagine how it will be. Of course, he has done 120 films. Yeah. I would have watched 110, I'm sure. So it's easy to imagine, when okay, Prithvi is playing that character, how will you play that, how will you look? And I felt, oh wow, oh my God, I want to, it will be wonderful to experience that in the theaters. Here you go. I was very lucky to be part of that film and to witness the way he works. And I don't think I have told this to you before, but there are a few things which I really picked from you, and one is that discipline. He's an army school product, and the discipline he maintains. I've noticed. I know he works out in the morning for 2 hours, and then he comes, he acts in the film, then he goes back. And I'm not sure, I think you were working on Bro Daddy and Emran while shooting for Kadwa. So you see, he was working on 3 films at the same time. And me, when I think about working out after the shoot, I was like, oh my God, I can't do this. Then comes this image of Mr. Prithviraj Sukumaran. It's inspiring. Oh my God. See, he's working. He's here. He has done 120 films. He's well known all over India. Let me do, let me take something from him so that even I get that success. And the way he remembers his life. Okay, let me tell you this. I learned to know, the lenses and everything and frames from you. I don't know if you remember, the camera was there and I was, finding it hard to position myself where to stand and everything. He just looked at the lens and said, you should stand here, that's it. It's that easy for him. He has said that there was a question about his professionalism and everything, so yeah. And you have told me that you used to note down everything about the lighting and the camera in a notebook. And I started doing that. Yeah, of course. And that's it. And it was a treat to watch that right in front of the eyes. And of course, he looks very good as Kadwa Kurvachan. I was like, oh my God, he looks really nice. And of course, I have to agree, there will be the 2 seconds where I'll forget that I'm a character, I'll be watching. Wow, I'm a fangirl, I'm proud. Let me watch. So that's all about it. Thank you so much.